Well, hello and welcome to the Informed Traveler Podcast, a weekly travel podcast where our goal is to help you become a more informed traveler. And I'm your host, Randy Sharman. In a few seconds, we'll catch up with my co-host, travel expert Onanta Forbes, who is sailing on the Sapphire Princess along the Mediterranean. So we'll see what she's been up to and where she's been. Plus, Patrick Soika from Rewards Canada will stop by to talk about loyalty program bonus offers. Turns out many people are booking flights, hotels, going shopping, etc., and not realizing they could be earning additional points and miles. So Patrick will share some tips on how to find them, earn them, which ones you should take advantage of, and others that may not be so great. But first, let's kick things off chatting with travel expert Onanta Forbes, who joins us each week to discuss some of the travel news and travel trends. You can follow her adventures on Instagram, Facebook, and X at Onanta Forbes. OnantaForbes.com is her website. And this week we catch Onanta on the Sapphire Princess sailing along the Mediterranean. Hello, Onanta.
Yeah, things are winding up. We're a few days away from departing, few days away from ending our snowbird adventure. Can't be bored snowboarding. And
well, you could.
yeah, that's gonna cause a little bit of challenge, but yeah, it's been a wonderful time away from the winter of home. Yeah, we still were able to see some really good sights. I think the last time we chatted, we were just about to head into Naples. Mm-hmm. And in Naples, we went to see Herculaneum. And this is not far from the actual port. So only about a half an hour of driving. And it's another site similar to Pompeii, where it was buried during the eruption of Mount Vesuvius a very long time ago in 79 AD. And it's the same eruption that destroyed Pompeii. But what makes it different is how Herculaneum was buried. So instead of being slowly covered in ash, it was hit by a series of superheated flows. So like fast moving waves of gas and ash and volcanic material that essentially sealed the town in an instant. So it created a kind of a timed capsule. So you're able to see wood, furniture, even food that was carbonized and preserved. So when you walk through the site today, you're not just seeing ruins, you're seeing the structures that still feel like they're lived in. So upper floors, doors, details survived in ways that you don't typically find in other sites. So you're actually seeing life as it happened. Like you see some people kind of frozen in time, covering their face as the ash would flow on top of them.
Wow.
So it was quite poignant to see it. You saw great mosaics. You saw the way it affected not just humans, but animals too, because of course animals lived with the humans back in the days, just like us today. And unfortunately, they're part of the of what happened. So it was very interesting, very well preserved. I think they learned a lot from Pompeii when the archaeologists went and kind of uncovered everything. So a very interesting site to go and see, and one that I would recommend. You can go on a excursion with the cruise ship, or a third party, or you could just take a cab or a train to the site yourself and go. There are cats in Italy, and they're cats that are part of this ruin, and they're cats that we were just sitting on a bench. And I'm saying this story. If you're a cat lover, you'll like this story. So I'm just sitting on a bench, and this cat comes up and just sits beside me. And then I went for my M&Ms, and they got on my lap. I'm thinking there was treats for them. So cats are very friendly here. So if you like cats, you'll enjoy them.
That's very funny.
Yes. So from there, the journey shifted to Corfu, and that's in Greece. And it's a beautiful destination. Just sailing into the island was amazing. It was one of our days that were beautiful blue skies, sunshine, nice weather. It was an opportunity to explore the old town on foot in Corfu. And it was one of those places where wandering really is the best plan. And it was an opportunity. They got us in there early enough so that there wasn't a lot of crowds. The streets are narrow and winding, and they're beautifully like lined with pastel colored buildings, balconies, and like laundry hanging overhead. And one of the little tidbits I learned along this journey is people in the olden days would hang their laundry out, not just to, dry their clothes, but
Mm-hmm.
also to show their class, because the type of laundry you and clothes that you hang on would
Yeah.
reflect on
A show
your,
off kind of thing, right?
yeah, absolutely, and how much money you may or may not have. So it was an interesting tidbit to pick up. And so when you're in Corfu Old Town, you find small local shops selling everything from handmade crafts to olive oil products, along with lots of cafes tucked in great little corners. Now there's an open square that appears between all the mazes of the streets, and it's just buzzing with life. So this is where you can spot like a lot of Venetian influences in the architecture, reminders of the island's history, along with churches and fortifications and glimpses of the sea as you move through the town. It's really like it's fun just to wander. And you don't have to have a plan because you're never going to get lost. It's just a small town. So just enjoy that part of it. And then we also went to visit, gardens called, they're in, I guess they're reflecting of, Achilles, and the gardens have a really fascinating story where it's a palace itself. It was built in the late 19th century by Empress Elizabeth of Austria, and who was deeply inspired by Greek mythology, especially the story of Achilles. And so she created these gardens as a kind of a personal sanctuary. It's filled with statues. There's one huge one of Achilles, terraces and sweeping views over the land. And it's just a beautiful way to walk through the gardens. There's a lot of storytelling that's a part of it. So it's really good to go on a tour with a guide that you can get a sense of what you're seeing. And then statues of Achilles appear throughout, and it symbolizes his strength, the beauty, but also the tragedy. And it has a beautiful view of the port and the old town. It's really quite lovely. So again, a lovely opportunity to visit Greece in our journey, not just Italy. We were supposed to go to Kotor, which is in Montenegro, but there was a front that was coming through, and this is a port that was planned for a tender. So due to the weather, it was deemed that it was unsafe for tender conditions, so it was canceled. So not everything goes according to plan, but that's just part of travel, right? Unpredictability is part of the experience.
Exactly.
But and then so we had an extra day at sea where you could relax, do your laundry, just enjoy the boat, because the boat's also a destination. Lots of opportunity to go to presentations. And for an example, this morning, there was a presentation hosted by the maitre d' as well as the executive chef. And they showed us, or cooking demonstrations for an appetizer, the main dish, and a dessert. And, intermediately, there was, crew members that came out and sang for us. So it was really
Cool.
quite entertaining as well. But as I mentioned, not everything goes according to plan. And one of the things that, it wasn't for anything serious, but I happened to visit the medical doctor on board. And so I got to know a little bit about what they do. He is a ship's doctor. He's actually, he was born in Paris, but he's from Cape Town, and he's an emergency doctor. And so yes, he's quite knowledgeable. They're equipped to handle a wide range of medical situations, from minor illnesses to urgent care, and they are available around the clock. Saying that, though, they do have clinic hours that you should note. It's only in urgent that they are available around the clock.
Mm.
And we had to make an appointment, and the appointment came with a cost. So then I'm going to do that little plug about what's absolutely essential when you travel is insurance, because now I
Hmm.
can take that charge and claim it back through my insurance, as well as the doctor's visit and the medication. But just keep in mind, the medical center on a ship isn't a full hospital. So if something serious happens, and you may need to have an evacuation, specialist treatment, or care once you're back on land. Again, that's where your insurance comes in handy. And then, because these costs can escalate quickly. We're talking about potential emergency transport, hospital stays in another country,
Hmm.
or even changes to your travel plans due to illness and missed ports, even though it was just weather related. So it's not about, worst case scenarios. It's about peace of mind for me and
Hmm.
giving yourself flexibilities, because when things don't go as planned, you're protected, and then you can focus on adapting rather than worrying. Because, if you're that person where it's your partner or your family member that's in medical distress, you would just want to focus on them, right?
Hmm.
Um, so it was a good experience to learn firsthand, in a very non-emergency way, what's on board, what's available to you. And cruising, depending on the cruise line, could have more of a mature audience where things that could happen will happen, so you have to navigate the unexpected.
Very true. And especially the longer you go somewhere, the higher chance that something might happen, right? Even if it's not an illness, you
Absolutely.
might twist your ankle. You were talking many times about cobblestone streets and things like that. It's easy to twist an ankle or just trip, and even to cut yourself or something that might need a stitch or two. So it's always that unexpected thing that you want to be prepared for.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought up cobblestone streets, because I swear, if the one thing I'm glad I brought was my runners or good walking shoes. It really, and what you say is really wise, because when we were visiting the gardens, I was just walking up some steps, and for whatever reason, my shoelace got caught in between the steps,
Oh my
and
goodness.
I couldn't move my foot. But it's just little things that that's why they're called accidents, right?
Yeah,
At the end of the
exactly.
day.
Exactly, and it doesn't
Yes.
have to be serious, but it's enough, like you say, to do to make a visit to a clinic, or if you're on the ship, to the infirmary, just for even a Band-Aid or something, right?
Yeah. That's it. Or even if you get seasick, right? Because
Hmm.
you're on a ship, and lots of motion can happen.
Hmm.
So that's just something to keep always in mind. And again, I use the phrase peace of mind, because that's what you need when you're traveling. Because you want to know that you're going to be taken care of no matter what happens. So tomorrow is our last port day. We're going back to Naples. It's the birthplace of pizza margherita. This gentleman way back in the day created pizza with tomato sauce and cheese and basil to reflect the colors of the Italian flag. And so that's part of, the joy of going to Italy and to Naples, is to have some pizza. And
Nice.
there's actually a festival going on that they are celebrating pizza. So there's going to be lots of friendly competition between the locals in an area about 30 minutes away from the port. So good place to go if you're that person that's your favorite food, or one of your
Hmm.
favorite foods. Yes.
Will be interesting to see the comparison between North American pizza and Italian pizza.
Oh yes. It's all, like I've shared this before. One of the best things for me to travel is to eat. And you're right. So yes, it's a great comparison to be able to share.
Well, we look forward to seeing more of your images and videos on Instagram and Facebook and X. People can follow you at Onanda Forbes, and they can check out your website for lots of great tips, onandaforbes.com. So safe sailing for the rest of your trip and for the rest of your cruise, and safe trip home, and we'll talk to you next week.
You bet. You take care. Have a good week.
This is the Informed Traveler Podcast. I'm Randy Sharman. Just want to remind you of our website, theinformedtraveler.org. That's where you can find our contact page if you have any questions or comments about the podcast. You can also email me, too, with any questions you might have. My email address is randy@theinformedtraveler.org. And you can check out our social media pages, too, at facebook.com/informedtraveler, Instagram @informedtraveler, or on X @informedtraveler. That's where you'll find a number of videos and reels from our adventures throughout the year and audio clips from our past shows. Plus, you can sign up for our monthly newsletter. It's released at the beginning of every month. Our March issue is available now. Just go to our website, theinformedtraveler.org. Click on the newsletter button. It'll take you right there. Or better yet, you can subscribe to it and have it arrive in your inbox each month. Well, once a month or so, Patrick Soika from Rewards Canada stops by to talk about loyalty programs. This time around, we're going to talk about bonus rewards and offers, how to find them, how to earn them, which ones you should take advantage of, and others that may not be so advantageous. So Patrick joins us now. His website, rewardscanada.ca. Hello, Patrick.
Hey, Randy. Always a pleasure to be back on.
Let's talk about bonus offers. What am I missing out on?
Yeah.
Seems like I'm missing out. I should be taking advantage of more things. So, talk about just the basics of what's out there for bonus offers and what we can look for or sign up for or what we should be doing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. This is something I've been doing for 25 years, trying to I guess, educate or get people's, get into their routine that they should always try and see if there's ways you can earn more points or miles on your travels, on your shopping, on all that stuff. My whole other website, not Rewards Canada, but Frequent Flyer Bonuses, is dedicated just to bonus offers, for travel. And that one's global. Rewards Canada, we do the same, but we do it just, if the offer is not available to Canadians, we don't post it on Rewards Canada, whereas Frequent Flyer Bonuses, it's a free-for-all, 170 plus programs with the different offers there. But basically what I try and educate people is that there's, we have thousands of people who book travel. We'll focus on travel because there are there's bonuses for going shopping, for getting gas and all those type of things, which we can touch upon, but let's focus on travel. And there are thousands of Canadians who go right now, they will go to, an airline website or a hotel site, and they'll book their hotel, they'll book their flights, not knowing that they can be earning more points. They might earn their base points. They'll put in their frequent flyer number, they'll put in their frequent guest number, they'll earn their base earn rates, but they may not be aware that they could be earning even more on top of that.
Teach me.
So there's a lot of bonus offers. So the big one is hotels. Hotels are so easy to earn a lot of offers at. There, most of the major chains run what we call system-wide bonus offers, or like global. It's like what you do is all you have to do is register for the offer, and then anytime you stay with that, and then once you do register, you just book your stays as you normally do, and then you go and you'll earn those bonuses. So, for example, like Marriott right now with their Marriott Bonvoy program, you register for their offer, and you're going to earn 2,500 bonus Bonvoy points per stay, and that's over and above your regular earning. And then they're also giving one elite night credit for each different Marriott Bonvoy brand you stay at. So with, I think they have 35 brands now. So technically you could earn 35 elite nights if you hotel hop. So there's people who will hotel hop, or mattress hop, they call it, or mattress run, where, I'm sorry, I'm kind of going off top, not off topic, but going down a different path here some people will be like, oh, well, I have a 5-night business stay in Toronto. Well, I'm going to stay at a different Marriott every night. They're going to move around. A different brand, and so they'll earn 5 elite night credits rather than 1 bonus elite night credit. Things like that. So some people really push taking advantage of the bonuses, and that's great, and that's what I try to tell people. But so many people are not even just earning those base points. You have they're earning their base points, but not even a single bonus. You might have one Marriott stay during the promotional period. Well, you could earn an additional 2,500 bonus Bonvoy points, and that's worth about $25. So people are leaving money on the table by not doing this. And yeah, so you get all the major brands, Wyndham Rewards. So even your, I said Marriott, Wyndham Rewards, your basic hotels like Super 8s, Days Inn, a lot of promotions there. IHG, Hilton, they all choice privileges. You name it. Can Alta Hotels here in Western Canada, they're running a bonus for Sunday night stays at their hotels. There's just so many different offers out there. And so I guess the main tip that I tell everybody is the minute you learn about an offer, if it's one you have to register for, don't wait, go register for it right away. And then you can forget about it, because in the future, if you forget about it, you may be missing out. You'll be like, well, I may not be staying at a Marriott. It's like, register anyways, just in case a Marriott stay comes up. Yeah.
Yeah, because you never know, right?
That's right.
And to register, all you have to do, like if you're like, let's use Marriott Bonvoy, for example, and they have thousands of hotels. Like it doesn't even have to have the Marriott name on it. Exactly. They may be part of it. So you don't even know half the time they're a Marriott hotel.
That's
but anyways, so you get the newsletter, right? And that's where they'll tell you, because I was going to ask you, like, where do you find the bonus offers? Well, usually they're emailed to you, right?
Usually they're emailed to you. Yeah.
And you just have to register. And all it is just clicking on a link, and then you're automatically registered, because they have your Bonvoy number and everything, right?
That's right. If you get the email directly from Marriott, from Best Western, a lot of times it is a one-click registration because it's all embedded in there. But if not, you would just log in. You get to the landing page of the offer, and it says log in and register. So it's a couple clicks. Less than a minute usually. Sometimes you have that two-factor authentication. You have to wait for your email or your text. So it may take more than a minute, but it's a very easy process. And then that's where we come into play. We list all the bonus offers we're tracking. We even our newsletter on Saturdays. We have our general loyalty credit card newsletter on Fridays, and then Saturday our newsletter is just bonus offers. So that's where you can catch up, just in case maybe you deleted the email or you didn't catch, sometimes, the hotel chains aren't bad with it, but sometimes airlines, they don't do a very good job of notifying you of an offer. It may just be at the bottom of an email saying, oh, and by the way, you can earn 2 times points flying to Europe, but you have to register. So people may miss it. They may just delete the email. So that's why I say, you can always come check out our site and you'll see those bonuses and you can go register. And so I basically just tell everybody, before you book any travel, double check that you can earn more. And like you said, you have to also learn some of your brands, like choice privileges. There are no choice hotel. There's not a single choice hotel in the world. That is just their name, is choice privileges. But it's it's Comfort Inn. It's they have the Radisson. They have the Radisson hotels in the Americas. I mean, Radisson is separate for the rest of the world. They have their own Radisson rewards, but choice hotels bought Radisson in North America. So your Radisson hotel stays can stay is choice privileges. And
same with Hilton, and like Hilton has a lot of brands that you wouldn't even know that are under their umbrella, right? Like
exactly.
Marriott, right?
So
and a lot of times too, it seems to me that the bonus offers, they last for quite a while. Like it's not just like this week. They'll last, and you forget all about it, and suddenly, okay, I book a hotel, not even realizing that it may be a Hilton or a Marriott, and suddenly you got your points.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I'm just looking at my list here. Like say Best Westerns, theirs ran from started February 2nd, runs until May 10th. Marriott's was February 25th to May 10th. That one you register by April 26th. So they do typically run roughly about for the hotels, it's usually about a quarterly, roughly, per year. And like I said, some like Hilton is well known for almost running constant promotions. There may be a couple weeks in between where they don't have a promotion. You just have to keep on the ball. And then there's a lot of targeted offers too. Marriott sends out a lot of targeted offers. They call it, especially for you, I think. Yeah, that's what it's called. And so depending on your stay history, they'll look at your stay history and you may get they'll be like stay 3 times, get 10,000 points, or earn an elite night for every night you stay. They'll look at your history and try, and they're encouraging you. That's what these bonus points offers too, is trying to, encourage your behavior or switch your behavior, instead of, staying with Hilton all the time, maybe you'll stay with Marriott and vice versa. So there's a lot of things out there. Yeah, there's just so many points out there. And I guess for me, maybe I'm passionate about it because I've been doing it for 25 years and I see it and I'm always trying to take advantage of it. But the key, a lot of it is you have to register. A lot of them, they used to give out points. This was before technology caught up. You would get the bonuses even if you didn't. I remember this is my anecdotal story that I tell everybody. This was about 1988 or 89, so well before the internet. Flew Calgary to Frankfurt. And then a couple months later, I get my Aeroplan statement in the mail. That's when everything was sent by mail, but I had my Aeroplan number on my booking, and look at my statement. There's the miles for Calgary to Frankfurt, and it was double miles. So I got extra miles, had no clue. But yeah, so the airlines and hotels are, to the most part, curbing that. They're not just giving out points willy-nilly. They learn it's like, well, you know what, let's not just give out points. We don't have if we don't have to. So that's why it's on the onus is on the consumer now. Most cases, this year though, what surprised me is Air Canada Aeroplan in January ran a 50% bonus on all flights, and then they upped it to 100%, like 2 times points on all flights, and you didn't have to register. So anybody who booked and flew booked during that period, it was for flights for the whole year, but booked during the period of the promotion, you would get 50% bonus points. And, I just, my wife and kids, they just flew Air Canada just recently. And yeah, sure enough, in their account, 50% bonus, not having to register. So I was surprised Air Canada did that. So everybody who was booking flights during kind of January, February period, and you put your Aeroplan number on there, and if you fly by the end of December, you're going to see an extra bonus there.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter where you do the booking, right? Like if I go on, I don't know, any booking site, booking.com, for example, for hotels, it doesn't matter. It's all tied in with the loyalty number, right?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. That's going to be the next thing I talk about. It does matter.
Okay.
It does matter for hotels, especially. Flights, not so much. Airlines are pretty open to where you book, but hotels, because they pay such big commissions to Booking, to Expedia and all that, you'll see that in their terms and conditions, you don't even earn your base points by booking through a third party.
Really?
Yeah, it has to be booked direct with them or through an authorized, like a GDS travel agent. So your traditional travel agents.
Yeah.
But
interesting. That is good to know, because I always thought that upon check-in, like I always check. I said, do you have my my Marriott Bonvoy number on file, so at least you get, but you wouldn't get that if you booked it through Expedia or wherever.
Yeah. And so, and you'll find, interesting. Hey, so you'll find on these promotions too, they'll say the points are awarded on an eligible points earning stay. And so if you book through Expedia, it's not an eligible points earning stay, so you won't earn the bonus. And so you typically have to book direct or through your preferred travel agent. But an online travel agency or third party agencies, those will almost never work. There's slight occasions where I think some promotions have allowed it, but I would say 99 times out of 100 you won't with the hotels. Airlines are different. They'll say you have to book through us, because sometimes what an airline may not have you register for the offer, but they'll give you a promo code, and that promo code can only be used on the airline site. So those type of things. But like something like this Air Canada, the 50% and 2 times points that they were giving out earlier this year, I'm pretty sure that was for any flight. So it didn't matter where you booked those flights, you would get that bonus. So as long as your Aeroplan number is attached. So yes, you do have to be aware. But definitely for hotels, like I said, if anybody's listening right now, 99 times out of 100, you'll have to book direct to get those bonuses. And there's, I think that's the biggest term. I was going to say car rental bonuses are kind of the same. Usually you have to book direct with the car rental company. Bonuses on car rentals are they're few and far between. Enterprise likes to run them. Avis likes to run them. Now there are a lot of airline bonuses. You can earn extra bonus airline points or miles on like Hertz rentals, budget rentals. Sixt is starting to break into the Canadian market. So they have a lot of offers, but same thing, they give, specific codes that you have to use for booking, and that has to be used on, the Hertz site or the, budget site, those type of things.
And we've talked about this before too. If you're using, for example, Aeroplan credit card, and you're booking on Air Canada and you got bonus points, well, you're getting the points from your Aeroplan credit card plus the bonus points for flying on Air Canada or one of their alliance partners. So then you can really rack up the point. This is how you rack up the points.
Exactly.
I guess,
we like to call that a triple dip, because one is your, and this is just specific. Your base earning is dip number 1. Your bonus is dip number 2. Your credit card is dip number 3.
Yeah, and it's not, and it's also WestJet or whatever. It doesn't necessarily. I'm just using Aeroplan as an example. But yes, there's lots of examples.
All the programs out there, and it doesn't even have to be your Aeroplan card. There can, whatever card earns. If your card earns points or miles, some have travel accelerators, or you have things like If we go back to Marriott Bonvoy, they have their American Express card. You earn 5 points per dollar for Marriott stays. So ideally, that's the card you use for Marriott stays. Yeah, it's just there's so many ways to rack up those points. Of course, you have your bonuses on credit cards for signing up. We won't go into that. I mean, that's a whole other market of bonuses. But then there's also, and it may not be bonus points or miles, something like, say Best Western's promotion right now, theirs is a $50 gift card after three.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it's a gift card
nights,
or it's
a free night, or it can be a free night or something like that. There's so many different types of offers. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Best Westerns, the reason why, I try to call them out on this sometimes because the gift card, because it's a bonus gift card, they're allowed to put an expiry date on it.
Oh.
So they're looking for breakage. They know everybody won't use that. Yeah. So points are usually the best one because most programs don't expire unless you're inactive in that program, right? So if you're inactive in the program after 2 years, you may lose those points. But yeah, so there's so many bonuses, and there's even bonuses like for transferring, like hotel points. One just launched this week, Choice Hotels Privileges. You convert those points to Air France KLM, they'll give you double the miles.
I've done that, yeah. I did that with my Marriott Bonvoy points. I transferred them over to Aeroplan because there was if you do this, you get a bonus.
They had the promotion, yeah. So there's the promotions, you have the bonus. It's a good way to use. So like, I'm probably going to take this Choice Air France KLM offer up because I don't really stay at Choice hotel brands. And I have some what I call orphaned points there, and I've actually I kept them alive doing the same as you. I converted a couple of years ago. I converted Choice Privilege points over to Aeroplan, just the minimum amount, but that kept my points active in Choice Privileges, and there's still points in there. So I may transfer to Air France KLM, take advantage of bonus, and it keeps my Choice Privileges account active.
I think it'd be a full-time job just looking after all the points that you have.
Oh my God, it can be. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Maybe we can touch upon the shopping bonuses quickly. Another one to watch out for is, your Scene Plus, because Scene Plus can be used for travel, especially if you have one of their credit cards from Scotia. Watch for the bonuses. They come out every Thursday for your grocery shopping. Sobeys, Safeway, IGA, places like that. Load those bonuses because that pools in with the points from your credit card, and you can use that for travel. A lot of the programs, Air Miles too, or they're going to be Blue Rewards soon. They have a lot of bonuses that come out every week. So keep track of those. Those shopping bonuses can rack up as well. And I guess it's not really a bonus yet, but this past week, you mentioned WestJet, they announced the WestJet Canadian Tire Triangle Rewards partnership. And what is unique about this one is you can earn WestJet points at Canadian Tire over and above your Triangle money. Oh. So it's great. So if you're a shopper at any of the Triangles, Canadian Tire, Mark's, Party City, places like that, link your WestJet rewards to your Canadian Tire. You're going to get, it's not a huge amount. You get one WestJet rewards point for every $2, so that's 50 cents. But you know what? If you go spend a few $100s every time at Canadian Tire or Mark's, it can, you'll be boosting your WestJet points by, a few dollars a year, and that's an extra savings on your WestJet flights, and vice versa.
Well, gardening season is coming up,
exactly.
So chances are you'll be shopping at Canadian Tire.
Exactly. Or and then vice versa, you can earn CT money on WestJet flights over and above your WestJet points. So there's absolutely no reason to not link your accounts, because all of this earning, I love this because they went over and above. It's not either or. You don't have to pick one or the other. You just link your accounts and continue on like you were before, and you're going to earn CT money and WestJet points on your WestJet flights. You're going to earn WestJet points and CT money on your Triangle purchases. So
nice.
It's a win-win.
It's a win-win, exactly. That's what we like. Lots of things to learn, and of course, the best thing to do is to sign up for the Rewards Canada newsletter, because you learn all this stuff from Patrick Zwica. He is the founder of Rewards Canada. RewardsCanada.ca is the website where you'll find lots of information to do all this and take advantage of these bonus offers. So, thanks, Patrick. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Randy.
And that is our show for this week. If you have comments or questions, we'd love to hear from you. If you have a show idea, send that along as well. My email is randy@theinformedtraveler.org. And if you like what you heard, tell a friend. You can check out our website too at theinformedtraveler.org. In the meantime, thanks for listening, travel safe, and be an informed traveler.